Good morning and welcome to another Digital Service Squad webinar brought to you by the Digital Main Street program and your Simcoe, your Small Business Enterprise Center here in Simcoe, South Georgian Bay. I'm Ben Frisch, team lead of the Digital Service Squad, and I'm just going to hand it over to Sam to get us going. Sam Evans, fellow Digital Service Squad team member, and he's going to take us through our presentation today, getting started with Google Ads. So without further ado, take it away, Sam.
Good morning, everybody. So welcome to Getting Started with Google Ads. So we are part of your local Digital Service Squad. The Digital Main Street program is brought to you by a whole host of generous partners: FedDev Ontario, the Province of Ontario, the Ontario BIA Association, along with the Toronto Association of BIAs. Here in Simcoe, South Georgian Bay, the program is managed by your South Georgian Bay Small Business Enterprise Centre, with additional support from the County of Simcoe, the town of Collingwood, and the town of the Blue Mountains. We're very grateful for all their support in making this possible. Your mics and cameras are off, so don't be paranoid wondering whether we can see you eating your breakfast. And if you're watching this live, you can add any questions to the chat window or Q&A windows that are at the bottom or maybe the side of your screen. And don't feel you have to take notes on every last detail. We're recording everything from our end. So you can find it on YouTube by typing in SBEC South Georgian Bay. And the link is also in the chat window. If you need any further clarification on any questions that you've asked, you can reach out to Ben and myself directly. And all of our links are also in the chat window. If you've not been in touch with your local digital service squad to learn all about all of the digital marketing support that's available to you through Digital Main Street and beyond, then you can book a 30-minute consult to get started. And the link to that is also in the chat box. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, then we'll put it in the description down below. Now that we've got all the thank yous and instructions out of the way, let's see if we can wrap our heads around Google Ads. So what is Google Ads? It is formerly called Google AdWords. And basically you pay Google to run an ad on internet pages all over the web. There's different types of ads and different places that people are going to see them. For example, you can see on the screen here, there's search ads and display ads that show on the Google search results. If I look for car rental in Collingwood, then there's an appropriate ad that is the first thing I'm going to see. Below that is a map result, and then below that would be the organic results. So if I search for Chia Pet Canada, then I would get a sidebar ad with photos and prices down the side of it. And these ads are everywhere. If you can take to the next slide, so that's the sidebar ads you can see there. And you can see at the top of my Gmail inbox, presumably the algorithm has worked out that I'm poor and hungry, so I get ads from RBC and HelloFresh. Or potentially it thinks that I have a lot of money, so I don't cook for myself. On YouTube, you get discovery ads and shopping ads, which can put your products to the forefront of Google's other pages, such as YouTube. So here I searched for new Sony camera review. And before I see any video results, I see Sony cameras that I might want to buy. But if I ignore them and I click on the top video results, then we see a TrueView / in-stream video ad. So that's going to autoplay before I get to the video that I wanted to see. I can't skip this until it's played for a predetermined amount of time, which could be 5 seconds or 15 seconds, depending on what YouTube's decided. So this is priced differently to regular YouTube ads or regular Google ads. Rather than getting charged when somebody clicks, with this setup, you get charged when they watch 30 seconds of your ad or the entire thing if it's less duration than that. There's also non-skippable 15-second ads, which are charged whenever they're played. So this one is advertising Squarespace, which is a website builder. Perhaps the Google algorithm decides that people who spend 5K on a camera are going to be technical enough that they'll have their own websites. This page also has a sidebar highlighted in yellow on the right from Lexus, because you're not searching for the latest and best camera if you're getting the bus. These are known as discovery ads, where the viewer discovers your ad by themselves. So they're choosing to click on that Lexus ad rather than being forced to watch it. This is charged when someone clicks to play it. So Google fine-tunes ads to its audience using the profile they've created on you based on your internet usage. So what you're currently searching for, what's in your search history, where you are, and what time of day you're searching. For example, if it's dinner time, you're going to be more likely to see an Uber Eats ad than like a cafe serving breakfast. And don't be alarmed if you're on your partner's computer or phone and you see loads of ads for earwax removal or something gross. It doesn't necessarily mean that your partner has been searching for something along these lines, as certain products will be marketed to a very wide audience. And often you'll find that you yourself are being targeted with products that you've no interest in. You'll also notice that there's a tiny triangle in the corner of these ads, or maybe a thumbs up, thumbs down, that you can click to tell Google that you're not interested in this type of ad. You can also log into your Google account and see what categories Google has decided that you'd be interested in, and you can set your preferences as to what you see as a consumer. So logging into my account, I found that this is just the start of 164 different categories that Google had automatically created for me. And there's a few miscalculated ones. For example, Android apps are probably there, even though I don't have an Android phone, as when I've been searching for info about how to do something particular on an iPhone, that blog or web page is likely also going to cover cover answers for the same issue on multiple devices. Australian football is probably there because there's a Collingwood FC in Melbourne. And auto financing will be coming up as I'm looking to currently buy a new car. Even though I've no interest in financing it, some of the car ads will have contained financing info. Bars, clubs, and nightclubs will probably still be there from the much more exciting pre-COVID days. So some of the info is from what I've told Google about me when setting up my Google/Gmail account, and other things it's decided for itself. And ads are a big deal. For Google, they make up a whopping 97% of Google's revenue. They're seen by 90% of internet users and not just on Google-owned pages. There's over 2 million other websites that host Google ad space on their page. So if we go to the next slide, this is TripAdvisor, and I'm seeing a travel insurance ad. They're actually advertising massage coverage, which I don't know why anybody wouldn't get. And so why do we need to do this? So the pros of Google Ads are that it's a great way to target almost anyone. There's basically no demographic out there that can't be captured with Google Ads. You know your ad is relevant to that particular user as well. Unlike billboards, junk mail, or even Facebook and LinkedIn, Google only shows your ads to people that are searching for something similar to what you offer. You only pay when somebody clicks on your ad. So even with the robust targeting options that you have with Google Ads, it might still be seen by an irrelevant user or two, and you're not going to pay for that. Google provides a ton of data that you can use to improve performance. There's too much data generated to go into it now, but it includes things like data on the people that clicked your ad, like their whereabouts and what they're searching for, the amount of traffic that the ad has brought to your website, the average cost that it took to create a lead, and loads more. Advertising on Google Ads also reinforces your brand authority, even though really anybody can do it. Cons is that it is a tap that stops when you run out of money. Conversely, something like organic SEO, say you're paying somebody to write the most effective blogs for your site, once they're online, they're there forever with a one-time fee, and they actually increase in value and rank over time, getting higher and higher in organic search results all the time and benefiting the rest of your site as well. People trust organic search results more than ads. The little icon next to an ad nowadays shows you that it's an ad, and that's much smaller and subtle than it used to be, which is better news for advertisers. The best keywords are the most expensive, and they might not convert into sales. We're going to go into pricing in a minute, but there's a very exhaustive list of things that affect the price of each ad. For example, really broad searches like fashion trends are going to have a much cheaper ad space than a search for Garfield sweater, because the person searching for that keyword is further down the path to purchase. Everyone else selling Garfield sweaters is also willing to bid through the nose for that click. Just because people are clicking on your ad, it doesn't mean that they're going to buy something from you, but you're still charged for people that click it, even if they're just looky-loos. So next, identifying your business goals. Google funnels you down one of the following pathways to determine what your goals are. So when you're setting this up, it's going to ask you what kind of campaign you're going to be running. So sales, that could be online, through an app, over the phone, or in store. Maybe those are people that are already ready to act, having already contacted you, or are very close to making purchase decisions. Leads increase growth by having interested potential customers, signing up for a newsletter, or providing their contact information. For example, this would link nicely with a landing page or a competition maybe. This is arguably the long-term investment, as once you have this contact data, you can directly retarget these people that you know have shown an interest in your product, even without paying to run ads anymore. Website traffic is as it sounds. This is aiming to drive people direct to your site. And obviously with the ad, you can choose whereabouts on your site they land. So maybe that's the contact us page or a sales page. Brand awareness and reach is increasing awareness of your product or service, particularly useful if you're launching a new product or expanding into a new area. So common terms that you're going to need to understand to get through this. There's SERP, S-E-R-P, search engine results page, PPC, pay per click, ROAS, return on ad spend, CTR, click-through rate, and so we're going to go into some detail on each of those. So search engine results page is your Google, Bing, Yahoo, whatever is the search engine that you use to search for stuff on the internet. When you Google something, that results page will come up with various web pages, and that's what their algorithm thinks are the most useful for your result. PPC is pay per click, and that does exactly what it says on the tin. You only pay when someone clicks on the ad. This sounds great because people can still see your ad, so it's strengthening your brand, but you only get charged if they decide to click on it, and then they'll be transferred to your homepage or whatever page it is you've linked to. But spoiler alert, it's not quite so cut and dry as that, but we'll go into that in a minute. ROAS, R-O-A-S, equals your total conversion value. So let's say somebody buys a pair of shoes from you where the profit to you is $100. Divided by your advertising costs, maybe that's 10 ads are clicked, priced at $2 per ad, and one of those ads lead to a sale. So that's $20 total in your ad costs. So your ROAS would equate to 5. However, this doesn't allow for future transactions. Those people that see or click your ad but don't make a purchase through it, but they might do later, or the lifetime value of a customer. You might make one sale through the ad, but that person discovers that they love your store and months later spend $5 grand going direct to the website, not through one of the ads. CTR is click-through rate, the number of clicks per number of impressions and impressions of views. So the average varies widely by industry, but overall it's currently just under 6%, which means 94% of ads that are displayed aren't clicked and they're not charged for. You might think that this is great, as people might still be noticing your ad and your brand for free, which is great. But this is where we get complicated. You actually want a higher click-through rate because this shows Google that your ad is relevant and engaging, which is a positive impact on your quality score and therefore your ad rank. Bear with me, it brings us nicely to how your ad settings affect where and when your ad is going to be seen. So let's say you own a company that sells shoes and you're running a Google Ads campaign where you're competing for the ad space when I Google size 12 men's shoes on sale. Above the organic search results, which is the free stuff that comes up, Google is going to throw at least one ad at me. The way it decides who gets their advert positioned in that space is down to what's called ad rank. The organic results below aren't paid for. If you want to know how to get there, then you need to look into our webinar on SEO, which you can find on the SBEC South Georgian Bay YouTube page. and ad rank. So ad rank is the maximum that you're willing to pay to have your ad displayed there, which is known as the CPC bid multiplied by your quality score. And that's compiled of things that Google has determined about your ad, its click-through rate and how relevant it will be for that user. So what? So if there's 4 different advertisers vying for the same ad space, in this scenario, it actually happens to be the person that's willing to pay the lowest price that's going to win that spot, because their quality score for that ad sitting on that page is 10. Multiplied by the $2 that they're willing to spend gives an ad rank score of 20. Now, if you look at that chart, if we wanted to give a different hypothetical winner, then advertiser 3 could have won if the maximum bid they were willing to pay was $10.50, because that multiplied by their quality score of 2 would equal $21, which beats out advertiser 1 to that spot. This shows why the quality of your ad is so important. Sorry, not $21, an ad rank score of 21. So they'd beat advertiser 1. So whoever wins this spot is only going to be charged the minimum amount necessary if the viewer actually clicks on the ad. So when we say what is the minimum charge, Google charges the minimum amount necessary for your ad by taking the ad rank. You'll see on the next slide, same chart, but working out ad rank. If you look at the ad rank of the closest competitor, that's then divided by your quality score, charging you 1 cent more. So you can see that advertiser 2 had an ad rank of 16, divided by the winner's quality score, which is 10, is going to give the winner a charge of $1.60 plus 1 cent for a total price of $1.61 for that ad. So that's an in-depth but still very shallow look at why you want a high click-through rate to give you a better quality score, which, factoring in your max bid, creates your ad rank. That is then calculated against your competitors to give the CPC, or cost per click. So your first step is make sure you go and get the voucher before you sign up. If you Google something like Google Ads Coupon Canada, you'll find a legit Google result that matches your ad spend in the first 30 days up to 150 bucks. And that will send you a code to your email in a minute or 2, and you can then set up your account from there. Now there's smart campaigns and regular campaigns. Google wants you to run what's called a smart campaign, which is where their algorithm self-optimizes your entire campaign. So you still fill out the same basic information, but you don't have as much control over it. Versus the other option, which is to pay an agency to manually adjust everything, which gives more choice and more control, but these human experts will be charging a fee, usually between 10 and 20% of your ad spend. So you can find plenty of vendors on the DMS vendor page or locally through Google if this is all too much for you, or if you like to know that a human is specifically targeting your intended audience. For example, with a smart campaign, which is the regular funnel that you'll be led through and very easy to set up, you can't set demographics. The computer will run ads and learn what's the most effective. However, with the normal campaign, think of that as a manual or human-controlled campaign. You can dial into specific demographics such as men, age 35, married, business owner, interests include Australian football. Using the normal campaign, which is really an expert campaign, you can run video ads, shopping ads, and more advanced campaigns a lot easier than these regular search ads. It's pretty hidden to switch from a smart to a normal campaign, so we won't go into it. If you're looking to do a normal campaign, then you're either paying a company who knows what they're doing, or you're going to be doing hours of online training to understand it, and it's not really something we can cover in a short webinar. So if we're going down the automated road, the smart campaign, Google is then going to take you through a very simple step-by-step process to get you set up. So the first thing you do is you write your ad, and you want this to be as attractive as possible for the audience. This is a dummy campaign that I just set up. You can see on the next slide, that there's a 30-character limit for each section. So you need to cram in as much sales pitch as possible into this small amount of copy. And this might actually be your most time-consuming process of setting up the smart campaign, because this is what your viewers are going to be seeing. And what to write. This is far too exhaustive to fit all in one ad. This is where marketing knowledge and A/B testing comes in. You run multiple ads and see which is the most effective for you. Different product audiences and even the time of day that your ads are up are all going to have different factors as to what is quote unquote best for you. If you're using a marketing agency to run your ad campaign, then they'll take care of all of this for you. So then keyword themes. Next, you need to add keywords to tell Google what searches you want to show up in. If you're an advanced user, then you can use Google Keyword Planner. A single keyword theme represents similar words and phrases. So for instance, the keyword theme bakery, that would make your ad eligible to show when people search for bakery near me, local bakery, or something like cake shop. After your ad is active, you can review your campaign search phrases and turn off any that aren't relevant for your business or aren't performing well. It's very simple to set up where your ad can be seen, which is really important for people with store traffic, rather than for those selling items globally solely online. Or for my example, I've listed the big conurbations, as if I'm targeting businesses and business owners to commission a professional video of their business, I'm more likely to hit them in town rather than in a rural residence. Obviously, this theory isn't perfect, as there's no reason a business owner can't be living out in the country, but there's a limit to how wide a net you want to cast, because if the wrong people are seeing the ads, like a farmer who has no interest in my services, then I'm losing quality score, effectiveness, and therefore money. Okay, how much should I spend? There's just no simple answer here. The important thing to know is that once you've set your budget, you won't be charged more than that. So it's not like giving your kid your App Store password and then finding thousands of dollars have been racked up on your credit card on Candy Crush. It's fluid, so in an individual day, it might spend twice the daily budget, but then will underspend on lower performing days to offset it to your monthly limit. Prices for space also fluctuate wildly. So for example, the lead up to Christmas is more expensive. Conversely, since the start of the pandemic, space for search terms like restaurants has been cheaper as there's less searches and a lot less competition. So start small and see how you go with it. You can change any of the settings at the drop of a hat. You can use the dashboard to see how successful you've been, and you can run multiple campaigns at once. So don't put all of your eggs in one ad basket. So you're pretty much done. You can set that, leave the ad going, and check back on your analysis of it in a few days to see how it's been cooking. Your dashboard is where you're going to change all of your settings. You'll see here, you can also pause a campaign and set specific times for ads to run. For example, a restaurant might want to only run ads during business hours when people locally are searching where to eat nearby. Now, the next one is a brief view of Google Analytics, which is a quagmire and totally different. It's a much more advanced kettle of fish. We've a webinar on analytics coming up, so make sure that you bookmark the calendar page, which is enterprisecenter.ca/calendar. It's not mandatory, but you want to link your campaign with Google Analytics, because that tells you what percentage of visitors to your site came from this particular ad, how long they spent there, and how many different pages of your site they viewed. It gives a lot more insight into how your ad is performing. Your ads dashboard gives you a nice, easy overview of what's going on with your campaign. And this is what you'll see if you're just running a regular smart campaign. Since the goal of the campaign, on the next slide, please, Ben, was to get more calls, it shows call clicks, that bottom center, instead of regular conversions, which is what you might be doing if you had a shopping campaign, for example. Each ad campaign is going to show different metrics depending on what you've targeted it to do. Okay, half an hour in and we made it, so give yourselves a pat on the back. I hope that you learned a lot, because Google Ads is as easy or in depth as you want it, which is why big companies have entire departments dedicated just to it. You might want to have a punt yourself, or you might find that you're better off paying a digital marketing company to handle everything for you. If they're charging 20%, then maybe that's what your time is worth. Smart campaigns, which are what we've gone through briefly, are very quick and easy to set up. But as soon as you get to the expert level, the normal campaigns, it's very detailed and very time consuming. So obviously, we've only managed to drive this Titanic webinar into the tip of the iceberg, and there's a hell of a lot more below the surface. We'll paste these, Ben, if you don't mind pasting these links into the chat. And they'll also be in the YouTube description if you're watching this from the future. But there's an overview like to Google Ads, an in-depth guide, and kind of, you know, the in-depth version of everything I've glossed over this morning. So we'll stick around to answer questions. But again, you can find all of our videos on the SBEC South Georgian Bay YouTube page. As well as this one, it'll be up tonight, maybe tomorrow morning, depend on the process time, if you can bear to watch it through again. If you want to book a meeting with the rest of the Digital Service Squad to help you out with any online questions, don't forget you can book a free 30-minute consult to find out more about our services. So if anybody wants to put any questions in the chat or Q&A, then we can untangle this slinky of confusion that I may have created. As I mentioned at the start, there is a lot to get through. Ben, is there anything I missed that you can think of off the top of your head?
So, well, thanks, Sam. It was very thorough.
Thorough but glossy.
Yeah. So I'm going to just once again paste the link to the PDF in the chat. So there are oh, I see you posted those links.
Yeah, those are the external links.
Oops. So here's the link to the PDF again. So if anyone wants to use the document to just review that information, find all those links, it's all in there.
I think the most valuable thing from the presentation slides are probably the different dog GIFs, but yeah, also the audio of what I'm saying might be a little useful.
There is no shortage of animated GIFs in your presentation, so thank you for keeping it light and entertaining. So we might chat about while people might think of some questions there. Going back to that voucher, you mentioned a voucher to get started.
Yeah. So yeah, if you just Google that, then Google will bring up their search result for it basically. But it's a little gateway drug to get you involved in Google Ads, and it's only for the first 30 days that it's applicable. But it's $150 to match your first $150. So it's certainly worth doing.
Right. Yeah, I think that is a really good way for people to get started. So it's a sort of budget matching coupon. So you do have to spend a little bit of money, but I mean, for $150, you get $300 worth of advertising.
Who doesn't love a bargain?
Yeah, I think that's a really great tip, especially for anyone getting started. I know you can find a similar deal through your Google My Business profile generally, unless you've already used it. Oftentimes it's right in the dashboard on the right-hand side of your Google My Business. It'll say, get started with Google advertising, claim your $100 free coupon, I think. So that's cool. Yeah.
And if you do have, if you do want to punt $150 and have that matched, and maybe you'll see great results just with the the automatic, if you will, the smart campaigns that they set up for you. But don't get disheartened if you don't, because it might just be that you need somebody else to help you with going through the analytics of everything and being like, okay, well, half of your keywords didn't really register, or it made your ads a bit too expensive because the market that you were aiming for is too competitive, whereas maybe this would be a better sort of stream to go down. So don't give up.
Right. And do you think it's a good strategy for someone who is looking to build a global e-commerce business to start small geographically, or just advertise to the planet and see what happens?
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of ads, is that you can do A/B testing. So you could run 2 identical ads and run one, let's say, just in Collingwood, and the other you could do Canada-wide, and you could see the difference in their performance. And again, you know, with a business like that, it's great because it means that it's only the people that are interested in your ad are going to be clicking it. It's not like taking out a billboard campaign for the whole of Canada and finding that everybody that sees your ad isn't interested, and that 0.01% of people that looked at the ad and thought, hey, I'd like to know more, it was too expensive to capture those people. Which is why, you know, Google Ads is a bargain when it comes to advertising, because you're only hitting people that are interested enough in your product to click on it.
Yeah, and on that note, Leanne asked if we could talk more about CPC again. Leanne, if you have a more specific question, that'd be great. But
yeah, if you want to go back to that slide, Ben, the second sort of infographic slide, which will be to the right from where you are, I believe. Oh. Basically,
this one, the click-through rate?
No, keep going.
Oh.
The green background infographics. The next one on there, yeah. So
yeah,
your CPC is the cost per click. So that's essentially how much of your budget is going on each ad that is clicked. So that's worked out by the strength of your quality score and the max bid that you're willing to put into it versus that of the next closest competitor. So if you look at advertiser 1, you know, they've got an ad rank of 20 from the previous 2 columns, $2 times 10, which shows how important the quality score is. If you've got typos in your ad, stuff like that, anything that's kind of a bit spammy looking or people aren't going to be clicking on, people are going to see it, but Google's going to learn that people don't like the look of your advert, essentially. So it's not just about how much you're willing to spend on each person clicking, it's also about, you know, its history over time, if you were, and sort of how Google rates you as an advertiser. So I hope that covers it. Again, it's kind of, this is stuff that you're not going to know about. The algorithm's just going to run it on itself, and you're going to be like, oh, okay, it's costing me $1.61 per click, which is 100 times more than I thought, or wow, that's kind of cheap if that person, you know, buys something for $100. So the actual conversion, you know, the profit to you based on each conversion does come into play a lot. If you sell items that are only worth, if you're a dollar store, for example, and you have an online shop and it's costing you $25 for each person that goes through and buys something, then maybe it's not for you. But if you're selling anything that is, you know, $50 and up, then it's likely going to be worthwhile. So improving your quality score, that is, I'm not sure, I'm just going to see if the links that I link to are going to cover that. You'd probably want to look at, in the overall help on the last link that I put in, support.google.com/Google Ads. I'm fairly certain they tell you, they don't tell you the actual sort of algorithm that they're running, but they give you sort of tips about what's important when you set up your ad as to getting a, you know, a workable quality score.
Yeah, and I think further to that, like the page and the content that you're driving people to, that's where that comes into play, and that's where it becomes very important, as well as the use of Google Analytics to understand how effective that content is, when it comes to just, keeping people engaged, um, you know, uh, having the right information there that people expect, is going to help improve your quality score. Um, so yeah, so when you think about like how Google understands that, it's about how much time they're spending on that landing page, how, are they clicking on things, um, or if they're just exiting back out, then there's a problem. Google will not like that. That's going to kind of drive your quality score, low. I think using a lot of the same keywords in your ad as in your landing page are also important. It's all about just, tying those two together to make sure that the person who is, when they're clicking on an ad, they're landing somewhere that is exactly what they wanted to see, based on what the ad was telling them.
And
Really.
likewise, if your keywords end up putting you to a search results audience where your ad doesn't fit with what they were looking for, if you sell shoes and you're coming up on funny kitten videos because you've put the keywords in the wrong sort of genre for your product, people are going to see your ad and not click on it. And so Google might put your ad in 1,000 search results and nobody clicks on it because you've wound up sort of marketing yourself to the wrong audience, who aren't interested in clicking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, when you're setting it up, make sure you've double checked your copy, that there's no spelling mistakes or anything that's going to sort of make people on first glance go, they don't look like a great company, kind of thing. Because it's, as much as targeting people to click on it, it's also important that you're thinking about why would people not click on it, because that's what's going to hurt your quality score. Well, I guess my presentation was so in-depth and thorough, it has answered everybody's possible question about Google Ads.
Well, yeah, and just to sort of reiterate the availability of your digital service squad, and the services that we provide. We have worked with a lot of businesses to get set up with Google AdWords, get set up with Google Analytics, help them connect the two. I've even helped someone set up their conversion. I've set up a couple actually, conversion tracking. So this is where, when you really want to understand that whole process of clicking the ad to making a sale, you need to let Google know what is a sale, where does that take them in the path, and you need to just kind of jump through a few hoops to get that set up. So that's something that we can help with, that we can sort of guide you through and teach you how to do it with our one-on-one consultation. So there's the link there up on screen to book that.
And if there's just any sort of general questions rather than troubleshooting stuff, then feel free to get in touch, because that's what we're here for.
Absolutely. And someone is asking for the analytics webinar, and I'm just going to pull up the link here.
I believe that is in January off the top of my head, but I could be wrong. Okay. But yeah, what's our calendar website again, Ben, for people?
Webinars. It's the enterprisecenter.ca/events. Here it is, putting it in the answers there, the Q&A. But yeah, I'm trying to pull up the date on this too. understanding Google Analytics, Feb 3rd. Yeah, it's a bit late in our calendar, but again, if you have any pressing issues, questions, definitely reach out to your Digital Service Squad team, and we can do our best to help you out. Or as Sam mentioned, a big part of our role too is even just pointing you in the right direction for different service providers that can work with you, on a more professional level and really get that up and running.
Yeah, we just had a question about, if you usually use the dashboard on Google Ads to monitor results, is there a big advantage to using analytics? In your case, if you're already up and running with it and you're running smart campaigns, then yes, if you merge analytics into it, then it's going to tell you, I'm talking about site analytics here. So it'll basically then crawl your site from that ad, and it'll learn where that ad user or that ad clicker has been on your website. And that might teach you sort of, people are getting so far, but they hate this one page or something. Or you might find that, they're having to go through 8 different pages of the website before they actually make a purchase, rather than going straight to a sort of easy purchase page for that product. And the wider Google Analytics itself is hugely useful for just knowing where the sort of heat map is of people, tracking people, like consumers in general, as to where they go within your website and kind of what things are working and what things aren't. So yeah, I mean, as the name sounds, is just kind of analyzing in depth parts of it.
Yeah, as Guy kind of further mentioned, using analytics to track the funnel. That's kind of it. It's your Google Ads dashboard is going to be where you get to see all like that cost per click data and how it's performing on a ROI kind of standpoint. But then your analytics is going to further that understanding of what did that path look like? What is that ROI actually? And it just kind of help further your understanding of how that ad is performing. Yes, as Maggie pointed out, it gives you insights into conversions that are coming from your ads and where they are directed.
And yes, Guy, you could easily drown in all the data that analytics provides. Which is why some people would prefer, rather than spending those hours going through everything, just having a company do it for them. Obviously, there's costs entailed in that. So if you'd rather just sort of throw money out there and see if it sticks, then great. Because maybe, that's all you need. But as with everything, there's only so many hours in the day. And, if the company are doing it, fast and effectively, then maybe that's worth 10 to 20% of your ad budget. If it was up to me, I'd pay to just not go into Google Analytics. It's a quagmire.
Awesome. Well, if there's no more questions, Google is a crazy world, says Maggie. Yeah,
we've got one person asking, how can you distinguish yourself using Google Ads? So that's how long is a ball of string kind of thing. It's one thing like if you watch, when you're on YouTube and you see a YouTube ad, that first 5 seconds is key as to whether you care about this advert or you're going to watch it through, or if you're going to click the skip button as soon as possible. With any advertising, it's kind of that first split second of, am I interested or not? And that's very hard to convey with I think in total, it's like 120 characters you have with a Google text only ad that's going to come up in a sidebar or on top of the maps results. So yeah, the key with that is good copy. And it's kind of stuff like, I think I mentioned on one of the presentation slides, if you're a plumber, anything that does 24-hour services for an emergency, you want to be thinking about what your potential audience are looking for when they're typing in that search result. So if I'm searching for a plumber at 2 in the morning, I likely want to see an ad that says big and bold, the first thing I see, open 24/7, because I need somebody to come and fix my leak. So it's sort of, you've got to think about why somebody is searching that search that they've done and how you can fit into that to sort of answer their search. But yeah, it's totally dependent on your niche and what you are selling to your user and what their problem is.
Sweet. And yeah, creative is always good too. Being creative, try and stand out.
Yeah, you want to be kind of clickbaity, but without being clickbait.
Walking the line. It's a fine line.
Asking questions, using humor, if that's what's right for your target audience. Conversely to the plumber thing, I was reading an article about locksmiths advertising, they want to show that they're 24/7 as well for when you're locked out once you come back from the pub at 2 in the morning in the old days, rather than family run. But then I was reading an article on a locksmith website that said, we actually promote that we're family run because in our area, there's a lot of sort of dummy, bogus locksmith companies that end up robbing you, essentially. So sort of family run, 70 years of service, all that kind of stuff for them was important for, the problem solving of their potential market.
Brand positioning, also a very good and relevant topic. Absolutely. Great. Well, thanks so much, Sam. This was really informative. I think everyone, safe to say that everyone learned something today. And we will just wrap up here and say thanks for joining us. Again, our contact information is up on the screen there. Feel free to reach out for a consultation, learn about Digital Main Street, the different programs and services that we offer that you could be eligible for. And we'll see you.
We do these every week. What have we got next week, Ben, that we can pitch to people?
Well, yeah, next week is, that's right. Thank you for the reminder.
I think that's me, actually.
It is the evening Digital Main Street information session. So just covering off again, everything Digital Main Street, all the different programs we offer, all the services, what's available. And it's an evening session. So giving business owners who might not be available during the day, giving them opportunity to connect with us for a 7 p.m. webinar to learn about Digital Main Street. So it's going to be cool.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by, everybody. Hope you learned something.
Great. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you later.